Today I woke up and decided Minecraft isn't hard enough. So I downloaded 100 different mods to make sure that this was one of the most difficult challenges I've ever done. There are literally hundreds of new mobs added for their sole purpose of making this challenge a nightmare. And not only that, all normal Minecraft enemies have been given a rework as well. I'll use the common zombie as an example. Not only do they now have the ability to dig through walls and build, but they also have the ability to sometimes have TNT or other weapons on them at any given moment. Every enemy also has the chance of having abilities, like being able to steal the item in your hand or catch you on fire. And this is just the zombies. This isn't even getting into any of the other hundreds of enemies just waiting to make this challenge more fun. I have attempted this challenge multiple times, and multiple times it has gone horribly wrong. This entire intro has been clips from my failed runs just to give an idea of how insane this challenge is. And it gets even more crazy with this run, so with all of that being said, I hope you enjoy the complete run of Minecraft Mod Madness. The first day started off promising. I spawned in the sanctuary with a pack of wolves, and for some reason there was a Pikachu dog. It looked cool, so I wanted to tame it, but, it just started, so I couldn't do anything. So I decided to leave the sanctuary, where I was almost immediately attacked by those super skeletons and ants. So I kinda just had a little chase for a bit and ran away into the forest, and I walked around there for a bit, which things seemed nice and peaceful. Until we ended up getting our first ever encounter with a dragon, which that's going to be a reoccurring theme this challenge. So we headed a different direction and found our first ever inventory pet. It's just a little pet that sits in your inventory, which is cool, but even better, they give you abilities. There's dozens of different kinds, and they all have just different kinds of ways of helping you, and in return they eat stuff in your inventory. But when you got ones that give you super speed or ones that let you go into lava, it's kind of good. But as you've been watching, I caught myself into a dangerous area just getting some inventory pets. I was in a Herobrine biome with a dragon, which was really cool, but at the same time I knew I needed to get out of there. The sun was setting fast and I had no place to stay. I was walking around and ended up in the mountains when I found a ominous Herobrine statue, which was not a good sign. But walking a little bit farther, I ended up finding a survivor's house, which seemed to be the perfect place to stay for a first night. And at first it was. It was pretty nice in there, and there was plenty of food and armor for me to borrow forever. But as I stayed in the house for longer, more enemies started to spawn, and as that built up, things started to get pretty crazy pretty fast. And Alex was having none of it. She just straight up left me to die. Like, yeah, I guess it's because of me that her house was blown up and burnt down, but like, if a dragon would have done it anyways, it didn't matter. But yeah, she left me, and it was pretty much just me and the mobs for the rest of the night. And just as the sun was rising, there it was. No way! It's the bat. It's what I'm trying to get the... And he exploded. The bat, also known as Epion, is a creature you could tame and fly around, and I knew that before this challenge was going to end, that bat was going to be mine. But after seeing my first opportunity slip by, I went back to what was left of the house and took everything that was mine. Oh. A baby llama and their mom. 3 baby mom. Baby llamas. After searching around the mountains for a bit, we found a village that was really nice. It had a lot of good buildings that could make for potential homes, like especially this brick house on the hill. And once I put some items away for safekeeping, I found this pet shop, which was pretty cool to see, especially because it had a secret room with a bunch of cheese and a rat banner in it. I walked outside and saw that a tornado was currently crashing through the village, which I don't even know how that makes sense. My house is in the mountains. How does that even work? But it became very obvious that, village or not, nowhere was safe. Even the next morning wasn't safe, as a bandit somehow made it into town. I tried doing this 180 no-scope axe attack, and yeah, that didn't go the way I planned. I somehow only did 1 damage, which I'm not sure why, given what you're seeing right here. I thought the 180-degree axe attack was a lot more impressive. But regardless, I decided to go on a mini adventure, and all I really got from it was just some gears. I robbed this building that I found in the forest. Going a bit farther, we ended up finding another village, which seemed to be safe, so I stayed in the hotel for the night, but instead of a pleasant stay, it turns out this hotel was a hotel from hell. See, there's these enemies called rifters, and they want to see nothing more than you in their dimension, and they'll make sure that happens even if they have to drag you into it. So yeah, I had this fun fight with a rifter inside the hotel, along with a group of spiders that wanted to tag in, literally out of thin air. And as I ran away, it turns out this hotel had a special guest it didn't tell me about, and so I booked it into the nearest bedroom and somehow managed to lock all of the spiders inside of there before leaving. The next problem was the giant ice dragon that took up the entire first floor. I wasn't sure what I was going to do, so I just thought maybe I could make a break for it from the second floor. But as you could see, the rifter thought it was a good idea to make his appearance again. And yeah, just a horrible, horrible night. That's a 1 star easily. So the next morning I decided to go back to the village to give him my bad review. It turns out though that the concierge did not take that lightly. Oh, why hello. And now I die. I guess this little guy barged in order to test out my target practice, and yeah, I need to go back to Hypixel, because clearly I wasn't good enough yet to pass his challenge. But it doesn't matter. I found this purple cow that gives me the exact edge I need. Because who needs skill when you got an army? But no matter how big the army, nothing was going to save me from this. Oh, hey buddy. You're going to die tonight. Imagine if someone walked up to you and just said that and then walked away. This is really bad. So I tried to hide in the brick house for the night, and as you could hear, it was complete and total chaos outside. It didn't take long, though, for them to actually break into my house and just completely ambush me. Like, I didn't even stand a chance. You could see how many enemies there were there. There was just no way. And thanks to that festive creeper, my entire bedroom was blown up, so I went all the way back to spawn. Not a good night for that to happen. It was horrible. There were so many enemies everywhere. Sadly, I don't think the Pikachu dog survived. However, I did hide in a cave for a while, and for a good bit, I was safe. But then a mutant creeper came and decided to make an explosive entrance, and yeah, it's just horrible. This was horrible for the 4th night. You know the blood moon is a 5% chance. Like, I cannot believe the odds for this. I do have to be honest, though. I love the chaos of the blood moon. Like, it's kind of fun just going out there and seeing what situations you can get yourself into, because so many different mobs are spawning. But eventually it kind of got to the point where I was like, all right, I'm kind of ready for morning. With the start of the next day, the blood moon had finally gone away, and making the trip back home, I ended up finding a couple of inventory pets to join my slowly growing army. And thanks to all the loot that we found, we were able to craft ourselves a summoning staff, which is easily one of the best items for this challenge. Basically what it does is that I'm now able to spawn in certain enemies that I've seen before, and they can fight for me and things like that. And so I decided to test it out on the town and attack a couple of enemies, which was going fine, until a special guest arrived and things took a turn for the worst. Wow, that dude sniped me. Like, I gotta give him credit for that. That shot was pretty good. How did he shoot me? What? Oh, it's a mutant. It's a mutant skeleton. Looking from the balcony to see that it was a mutant skeleton, I should have been paying more attention to the other special guest that was right underneath me. It's just impossible. What? Why am I in Ratlantis? How did I end up in Ratlantis? Don't tell me a weeping angel touched me and now I'm here. But it was a weeping angel. See, the weeping angel is a little funny enemy that has the ability to send you to any dimension that it wants, just by simply touching you. So even though I was having a somewhat normal night, this weeping angel decided to ruin everything by just straight up throwing me into a different dimension. And now I have to find out how to get out. Looking around, I came to the conclusion that I was completely screwed. See, the portal to Ratlantis is very, very expensive, and a lot of those materials are mostly outside of Ratlantis, so there's no exact way to make a portal to go back. There was no lava for me to make a nether portal to see if that might work, so I wandered around for a bit and eventually found a dimensional door, and I thought, screw it, I'm already in such a bad position, I might as well test this out. And for any of you who've used the Dimensional Doors mod, know that pocket dimensions aren't exactly the most fun place to be. But running around there for a bit, I ended up finding a new trap that I've never seen before, so I decided to test it out and got trapped inside this weird pyramid thing. Not exactly a good trap though, because I did not die. I ended up leaving the dimensional doors, realizing that maybe if I went to Limbo, it was probably not the best idea, just because of the fact that, for starters, I might end up getting stuck in a loop where I'm stuck in Ratlantis, so that's why I just chose to leave. Googly eye! No! They stole my googly eye. Parasite is evolving. Well, that's not a good sign. What parasite is evolving? Oh, you came in out of nowhere. I thought that was the parasite. Oh, those are the parasites. Man, you guys are fast. Oh, look at his face. He's just looking at me. Oh. So yeah, if you couldn't tell, my time at Ratlantis wasn't exactly fun. There was a lot of enemies everywhere, all the time. But I did find a way in order to escape Ratlantis. I just needed to get some materials. See, even though Weeping Angels spawn in the wild, none of them wanted to spawn in Ratlantis. So, after some searching, I found that you could force them to spawn with paintings. Specifically, a Weeping Angel painting, which is just crafting a painting with some gray dye. It didn't seem like it was that hard to get the materials, so I went out of my way to search for it. Searching around, I ended up finding this crazy castle that I've never seen before, and I thought, you know, there has to be something good in it, so I went to try to enter, but quickly realized that that was not a good idea whatsoever. So instead I went to the nearby battle tower, which was actually a good stroke of luck because they had wool in the chests, which was exactly what I needed for the painting, so I immediately jumped out the window. Then I scavenged through the litter that the mobs love to leave every night and ended up finding myself some bone meal and a squid that just happened to be hanging out there until I showed up. But now I have all the items I need for the Weeping Angel painting. But before I got crafting, I found this very weird rat plant that apparently is helpful for the rat mod, but it's also very rare, so I thought I might as well take it. But the next morning I crafted the Weeping Angel painting and hung it up on the wall, and then waited for a Weeping Angel to appear, and then finally my opportunity came to leave Ratlantis. Now you take me to a different dimension. Okay. We are in the Aether now. Or not the Aether? It says Skyland, right? Yeah, no, it was not the Aether. If it was, this entire journey through dimensions would be over, but instead I was stuck in the Skylands, which very early on I came to a weird realization. I had somehow become immortal. Nothing could kill me, not even the void. Even the void couldn't kill me. I guess all the dimension hopping really has an effect on your body, because thanks to these Weeping Angels, I'd somehow become this immortal god of creatures that could never die, leaving me yet again stuck in another dimension. So for the night, I literally just ran around messing with mobs, because nothing could kill me, so I thought I might as well just mess around. So the next day, I decided to use my newfound powers for good, by immediately going to rob a battle tower and killing its golem too. I also went to rob a village, which was then attacked by a dragon, and I surprisingly survived from it. There happened to be some sort of floating dungeon on the outskirts of the island, so I thought, hey, I might as well go check it out. And I could throw in a sarcastic joke here about how difficult the dungeon was, but let's be honest, you get the joke. I can't die. Nothing could kill me. I literally ran through there and stole everything that they had. It was just too easy. Why was I given the god among spiders? Whoa, what the? Oh, it's a rock. Yes, take me away. No, don't catch on fire and then die. And after that flawless escape, I spent the dawn watching mobs fight each other, straight up like popular MMOs arena style. Like, these two were going at it. Filza! Give me Filza. Give me Filza! Get back here. Yeah. The next day I had a very special guest, as that dragon from earlier wanted to come back for seconds. Apparently it didn't get the memo though, because for the entire day I beat that dragon with my bare fists. And after a long and tedious fight, the dragon finally fell and I was able to get all of the items that I wanted from it. And by this point in this dimension adventure, I was more than satisfied with everything that we got. So I thought maybe it's about time to go back home. So I made another Weeping Angel painting and hoped for the best that the Weeping Angel would finally take us back. And what do you think happened?
Yes, I've never been more happy.
Just as much as the game giveth, the game taketh too. To be fair, we really didn't get the items legitimately, so I wasn't that bummed out about it, but losing them all definitely hurt a bit. However, we did end up in Limbo, which I was afraid that it wasn't going to work out when it came down to Ratlantis, but it turns out that Limbo the entire time was secretly the key to finally getting back home.
It was a long journey. I hated all of it. Thank you, Limbo, for killing me. And it is morning. Look at that, man. What a successful day. Wait, actually, speaking of days. Day 10. No way. You mean to tell me that because of this entire situation, I missed out on getting the bats again?
Yeah, because of our extensive journey through different dimensions, we lost our opportunity to get the bat. Because the most normal way of getting the bat is through waiting for full moons, which one had just passed. So, I decided to get some revenge on the Weeping Angel that put us through this entire journey to begin with.
Gone. Forever.
Mysteriously, the mutant skeleton from a few nights ago had somehow died, which I still don't understand how the mods work together for this, because even though we spent days going around dimensions, it was almost as though no time had passed at all once we got back to the overworld. As you saw, the Weeping Angel was still there, and the mutant skeleton too, so don't know how that happened, but I'm glad it did, because we ended up getting the full mutant skeleton suit armor. So I saw it as a bit of a payment for the amount of days that we lost because of this whole journey through dimensions. Not knowing how much time I had until another event like the Dimension Adventure was going to happen again, I decided to stock up on steak for the next full moon. See, even though I love bats, these bats are greedy. They take a lot of steak just to make the treats in order to tame them, so I decided to be fully stocked on that before the next full moon came. It turns out though that the next event was already coming straight for me, although this one was my fault. I don't know what I was thinking, but for some reason I thought it was a good idea to have a dragon follow me back to my house, which, no matter what the mod, that is probably the worst idea you would ever want to do. But yeah, regardless, I had him follow me home, and now I have a dragon in the village, which, yeah, great.
Where? Oh, no! Sleeping? You come into a village to start, and you start sleeping? Nah, that ain't gonna work. You're coming with me. Hey, buddy.
When it hit me that I indeed did have a horrible idea, allowing a dragon to follow me back home, I decided to go on a little adventure in order to get some fresh air from dragons.
Good thing you got stuck on the... Oh, it's because his base is here. Or no. There's another one underground. Which means I could rob this one. Actually, no. I should not have done that. They're friends. Oh, jeez, yeah, they're friends.
As you can guess with how that adventure ended, I ended up back home. So I decided to fight the dragon that had taken over the village the same way I beat the other one, with my bare fists. Again, this one took a very long time. Even longer than the last one, actually, because I did not have my immortality this time. So it took a lot longer of just me respawning to get a couple punches in and then being incinerated or eaten alive just to get a couple more hits in over and over again. But finally, after what took an entire day's worth of fighting, I beat him.
Gotcha.
And unlike the last one, I got to keep everything. So I went straight home to go straight to crafting, and I made a full set of dragon armor along with bone nunchucks, which I never knew you could make before, but they sounded cool, so I made some. And with everything going so well, I decided it was as good of a time as any for yet another adventure.
Oh, you are bad. You are bad.
As you saw, almost immediately being ambushed by Stymphalians, but luckily for us, the set that we got was actually very helpful, and we were able to beat them too, which is, I think, a huge step in the right direction, because so far it's pretty much just been death on our part. But as you know, this is mod madness, and when you're taking one step forward, you are most likely taking two steps back.
Oh, great. This is bad. Shoot. Come on. What is killing me? I'm actually going to die with the dragon armor on. Ooh.
Even with all of those upgrades, I couldn't survive the first day with them. But you saw what happened. Like, that damage was absurd. But whatever. We ended up going to a village and just stocking up on some items so that for the next day we could make the trip to get our items back.
Oh, that is a mutant zombie. Who's dying, actually. What? Who's actually killing the mutant zombie? Now that is a surprise. Honey, I'm home. Haha, funny, laugh track.
After that, we ended up getting our items back safely, which is a godsend given our track record so far. Then I went along and got some more steak as the full moon was coming closer, so I had to get ready for these bats.
The hell is that? Oh, it's a it's a squid with a T-Rex hat. I thought it was something much worse. I thought it was like a little T-Rex just chilling out.
So I was cooking some food when a cinder decided to come in just guns a-blazing. Like, immediately my house was just instantly on fire. And like, yeah, I guess I could have covered up the window, but at the same time, regardless of what you do, you're lucky if your house lasts longer than 5 days.
Oh, come on.
Going back to assess the damages, my new and improved house seemed something more out of house fancy than anything out of Minecraft, but I thought, screw it. At this point, I'm just going to leave it as is until I find a new one.
Okay. We're going to go into new territory. If we're lucky, we will not run into a dragon immediately and die.
The next day, we crafted those treats we're going to need for those bats, and I did a little house hunting to see if I could find a new place to stay, and it just wasn't doing it. None of the villages were good enough. They're just too dangerous.
I do not exist. As long as I think of that, then nothing bad will happen.
Even more house hunting today, and with the amount of biomes and villages I went through, there was a good amount of options, but still, nothing seemed good enough. They were just never really in good areas, or the buildings just didn't seem right.
Oh.
However, I did get really lucky and found a pink sheep on my way, which was cool to see, and for the night I decided to stay at a village. Although I assumed that I was waking up in a perfectly safe village the next morning, it turns out that was a complete lie, as there was a dragon actually hiding there the entire time and just completely sniped me, making me lose everything in my adventure. So although the house hunting was a failure, I saw the battle tower nearby the village and thought, yeah, that's a smart idea, and so I decided to start my journey to fight the battle tower.
Oh, hello. Oh. I hate them so much.
At the start, it was going good. All my guards were doing their jobs perfectly, and I was getting plenty of XP and plenty of items too. But as battle towers go, the deeper you go, the harder it is. To the point where the footage I just showed you of the day before is almost unrecognizable compared to this. Like, did you see how many status effects I got there in an instant? Like, at least before, in the first couple of floors, there were like cave spiders acting cheap and such. But that... the level of difficulty exponentially shot up. And even worse, I went through all of this for nothing, because it became such a tedious task that I forgot what floor I was even on, and I pissed off the battle tower golem without even thinking about it, and by that point, all of the loot was gone. Seeing that the battle tower was now a lost cause, I went back in to pick up everything that wasn't either incinerated, blown up, or missing. And even then, the journey out was still dangerous. I almost blew up, and I'm surprised how little damage I took from that. But by the time I got out, I looked at the moon and realized It was time. The day had finally come. The full moon was going to be happening, and I had the soul stone and treats ready for those bats. I even built a watchtower in order to be fully prepared to see any that would spawn. And then nothing happened. Not a single bat spawned. I sat there and I watched, and nothing happened. And then, even worse, in a terrible stroke of luck, I was shot off the tower and killed. By the time I was able to get my items back, the sun was already rising, and I had lost, yet again, another opportunity for those bats. After that, I was bummed. For the rest of the day, I just walked around, and even then, as you could see, I wasn't even free from dragons then. But who cares about a pity party? The next day we went on a new adventure and found a new village. I spent the night reading poetry and said hello to the neighbors.
Hello, guy with gun. Next to almost exploded creeper.
The next morning I spent being completely obliterated by yet another dragon. But then some news came to my attention. It turns out that bats do not only spawn in full moons, but they also spawn over dark forests, which means if I stake out long enough in one, I don't even need to wait. So the next day I started another adventure to the dark forest, and I was found out by even more dragons, surprisingly. Thing is, though, I spent the entire night in the dark forest and even found this cool-looking castle, and with all of that waiting, still no bats appeared. So I decided I had enough waiting. It was time to take action. And even then, this was going to help me out in the long run to get bats. See, there's another type of flying enemy that likes to spawn at night, and you might have seen him before too. He was the special getaway that I had that made me fall into the void. They're called rocks, and I spent the day preparing for them, even building a watchtower like I did before.
That's a rock right there. Hey. Come here. Come here. No, don't fly away.
After hunting the rock down, he took my treats and was finally mine.
No, rock! Take the saddle!
Finally taming a flying pet is a huge change in this challenge. It definitely makes it a lot more fun, because now I could get anywhere faster, and I'm allowed to do things that I wasn't able to do beforehand. Like, for instance, that battle tower right there that looks very, very robbable. So I robbed that battle tower the very next day, and it turns out that the summoning staff with a flying pet is actually a very good combination for a very lucrative business model. In just one day, I probably got more items than I have in the entire series so far. And with this strategy, items like diamonds and ender pearls are no longer a problem. But all good things do have to come to an end, and obviously with how Mod Madness is, a dragon just had to show up to attack me. But this time he was late, because I already put everything away. And so the next day I did some walking when we got ourselves a new special guest. It turns out that Pac-Man has now joined our army with a very explosive entrance.
Oh, it's an SCP center.
What?
Oh, and a dragon. Okay, I'm out. I'm out, bye.
I want to see that guy that got ripped off from the Russians or something.
That's the first SCP center I've seen.
Go in it.
I'm not going in it.
Why not?
Why do you think not?
I don't know why you think not, but I think you should.
No, that's a terrible idea.
It's the best idea.
I was nowhere near ready for an SCP Foundation yet, especially one with a dragon. So for the rest of the night, we went after a couple more battle towers.
It's 11, and I kind of have to go find my AirPods because I don't know where I threw them. So now.
What do you mean you don't know where you threw them?
Probably threw them somewhere. I don't know where they are.
What do you mean?
I must go.
You gotta treat your stuff better.
They're AirPods. They'll be just fine. They're meant to throw.
What do you mean? Giant chicken.
Another night of the full moon was approaching, and this time those bats were going to be mine. I was more prepared than the last time, especially because now I have my rock. So we were going to use it to fly around and hopefully find some bats once night came around. Thing was, though, I probably should have waited for night to do that, because a dragon just had to come. It is Mod Madness after all, and it took forever to get my items back just to lose them all again. By the time it turned night, I lost the soul stone, and I was just desperately walking around hoping for a bat to show up. But again, nothing. As the sun rose, I made the trip back to getting my items, and I ended up actually being able to safely get them all. I don't know where the dragon went, but it just, I guess, got bored. But that didn't stop the next dragon from literally camping. Like, you could see he was waiting behind the battle tower for me. I did not even stand a chance. He was already shooting.
Go, go, go. Rock. 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 Come on. No, rock. Please, rock.
Somehow managing to escape that dragon with my moonwalking rock, we walked around for a bit until it hit nighttime, which I went back to the dark forest in order to try to hopefully find some bats again, and at the same time, this ominous tower actually seemed like a good idea for a home. And then I realized how many dragons appear on a daily basis and realized that that house would not last a single day without going up in flames. Once it hit day 35, I left that forest and found a Candyland, which seemed to be good until I saw a Hydra that was there. So I thought it was a good idea just to leave instead, which wasn't exactly a good one given the fact that I was sniped by yet another dragon. But after bothering some more battle towers, my luck turned around in the best way possible.
No. Why? Bat. You have to follow me. Epion, follow me.
I had finally found it. After all of these days of looking for it, the bat finally came. All that was left was to take it home to tame it. And after some very, very close calls, I finally brought it back home.
Epion wants more. Yes! Yes!
And with the Soul Stone, I could finally use the bat whenever I wanted. And I was just so happy after all this that really just for the rest of the night, I was just messing around with the Epion. And I was just going around fighting whatever I could find until it became morning. And with our newly tamed bat, we went right back into business once it hit day. It was just more battle tower stealing, the usual. It was going well until a dragon chose to make an appearance and just, do what dragons do. Although, I did find out that the Epion has this weird glitch that when it takes damage, it just gets super speed in a random direction, which has some practical use, but at the same time I have no control over it, so it's a double-edged sword. But once it hit nighttime, I actually got lucky and found a Herobrine house, and after some very legal activities, I just chose to leave. But Herobrine is probably the last person you're going to want to steal from, because my luck took a turn almost immediately after.
Pyramid. So I guess this does technically count as a desert, but it's not like we're going to find... Oh no. Find him for me. He's going to drag me into the dimension. No, he's going to put me in the dimension. This is really bad.
So yeah, day 37 wanted to start off fun. I was stuck in yet another dimension with no way of knowing how to get out. So I wandered around for a bit and I found this weird chunk of Suavis slice. I broke it and it gave me nausea, so that was nice. But it was food, so I took it. I also found a pleasant surprise that bats like to spawn in the midnight dimension. So if I ever want to get more in the future, this would be a good place to go. But for the time being, I did not want to stay here long. So wandering for what really was almost the whole day, I found the first portal I could out of there and just took it. Where almost immediately I was greeted by villagers and guards. Now, what do you think happened? It was a bunch of ants with creepers on them. It didn't go well. I died almost immediately. I wanted to kill some boredom, so I just fought a beholder. I don't know why. He was just there, so I was like, I might as well. And after putting away the loot from that beholder, I thought it was time for yet another adventure.
I would say, like, oh, Cyclops. Around some sheep. Yeah, I was going to say, does he kill the sheep? Dude, he's eating them. Yeah, you can't come here. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Too tall for you. Thing is with Cyclopses, though... Oh, come on.
After that, I thought it was a good idea to go into the desert to get the loot that I lost the night before, and that was a good idea. But then a dragon showed up, and then another showed up, and then another showed up, and I just got out of there. To be honest, I'm surprised none of them attacked me, but I somehow managed to escape. But then I started getting bored again, and when I get bored, I get ideas. Stupid ideas. So I went straight to the ocean, and I found a sea serpent fighting the sirens, which I've never seen before. Luckily, though, the sea serpent killed all the sirens, so I went straight in there and got all of the scales, somehow not getting the attention of the sea serpent, but I am very glad that that happened.
Shiny scales are amazing. Whoa, what the hell is going on? Oh, that he's shooting a missile. That's what's going on. I've never seen one actually shoot. Like there's so many sea serpents. Is there 4? That actually scared me.
Going back home to drop off the scales, I found out that I did not pick up nearly enough to make any full set of armor. So, I decided to go on a new adventure.
Alright then. Even Alex is like, the hell is going on here? Hi. Ooh, a shield. I didn't think of that. Thank you. Blaze powder. Well, you took some trips to the Nether. And I have taken everything. Thank you. Goodbye.
I then discovered a new ability that my bat has. Spam. And then I used it to kill a Cyclops. Like, you could call it cheap, but at the same time I did get an achievement, so you cannot deny the results. Then I spent the night checking out the nearby desert, and although I found a couple of villages, I just couldn't find a place that I thought would be a good home. So I spent the next day house hunting, and even with finding other villages, I just could not find the home I was looking for. I even found this weird temple structure in the sky. It wasn't going to make a good house, that's for sure, but it was there. I don't know why it was there, but it didn't really have anything either, which was weird. So then I flew into a sandstorm, and I found an SCP foundation. I had the idea that maybe that would not make for a good house, so I just left. But then there it was, the house of houses. The one that I knew was going to be my home for the series. But I knew it needed more. I felt it wasn't enough to just legally take the house. I needed to add to it. And I had the idea set. I just needed to work on it. So the next day I went straight to work, and I got a good feel of what I wanted to do for the inside of the house. On top of that, I even put in a waystone, so from here on out I'll be able to teleport to here whenever I find a village, which is perfect. Then a weird glitch happened, because I'm supposed to not be allowed to sleep. However, I put a bed in for a spawn point, and it let me sleep anyways, so this is actually one of the only nights that I pass using the bed, just because I wanted to see if it was actually going to work, and for some reason it did. The next day I spent out clearing out all of the guards in the village, which is probably not a smart idea given how fast we lost the last village. It was totally not because I wanted to get the Dark Ages for my team, but as you could see, it does look pretty cool. Killing all the guards so quickly, I randomly decided that today was move-in day, and that I was going to be taking everything from the old house and moving it to the new, even though my new house was nowhere near ready. Luckily for me though, I had the inventory pets on my side, because instead of having to make the very long trip over and over again, or spending a bunch of XP teleporting, I could just use a ton of double chest inventory pets and take all of the items in just one trip. Which is exactly what I did, and it worked perfectly. And then I realized I need to organize. Using the waystone to teleport to the new home the next morning, I got right to work when it came down to getting those chests ready for this. I knew I was going to need a lot of storage because I wanted some organization when it came down to just the pure variety of all the items that I had. I wanted separate chests for items like inventory pets and obviously things like food and armor, just so that everything was organized right there for me to grab whenever I needed it. And would you look at that? Another day, even more organizing, and even more organizing, and even more organizing. That's just the price you gotta pay. Like, I know some of you with my old house were having it up to here with how horrible my organization was. But hey, it works for me. But at least this is a little more streamlined, so it is easier after all. And once night arrived, I decided to work on my plans for the house, clearing out some sand with an axe, even though you can clearly see that I have a shovel right there. But anyways, as I was doing that, I could also see as the village began to slowly but surely fall apart thanks to my presence. The next day was a short one, as I decided to say hi to a couple of the surviving neighbors while I was being ruthlessly hunted down by cockatrices. As you see here, I am currently running away from them while my guard sadistically stands there and watches. Luckily for me though, even though cockatrices do not make good neighbors, they do not stay for long. And then I got bored again, and so I just did a couple battle towers for the night. After the battle towers, I went to the village dungeon, and so the saga begins. This was an interesting journey, not only because this was my first ever dungeon doing this 100 mod madness, but to see the way that these mods synergize with each other is downright brutal. I did not know how horrible these dungeons could be. I've watched videos of other people like doing RLCraft and such, and it's bad. But this is terrible. With zombies having the ability to dig through walls, they literally build up where you don't see them, and then they just mine to you in armies. And if it's not the zombies, it's every other enemy. It is insane, it is brutal, and I would not wish this upon anyone. However, it did have good loot, and it has a lot of stone, which I could use for my house.
Hello. No, this is so bad.
And after being completely destroyed a couple of times, I decided to go back to base and come up with some sort of plan. The first step to my master plan of defeating this dungeon was to make an enchantment table, which I don't even know what I was thinking, because I had no levels, so it was literally worthless to me.
That way, Epion. Let's get a second Epion.
I was so excited to see another Epion, because not only is more bats the better, but if a dragon chooses to randomly snipe one of them, I could always use another one when the first one's on cooldown. So it's just more reasons for me to use bats, and you know I'll take any opportunity for that. And now with the second bat on the team, I wanted to test something out. As it says online, you can actually use a name tag with the name Vampire Bat to change how the bat looks.
Whoa. Let's look at you. Still though, the wings are pretty nice. Red eyes are cool.
But then I ran into a big problem, because the name tag doesn't stick when you call the bat back.
Well, now that's a problem. I don't know which one is which. This one is MiLEZ Epion. I dismiss. This one is MiLEZ Epion. I dismiss. And this is my rock.
So yeah, I'm unsure why this glitch occurs, but you for some reason keep hold of the name tag even if the bat is still out. Sometimes, when it feels like it. But even then, I can't keep the bat with that skin. It's whatever. But outside of that, I went to some battle towers to just fight them, and it went horribly wrong. Next time, I probably shouldn't be going into the battle towers and just do what I usually do. But this time I got bored, and you know what happens when I get bored. After getting my items back though, I made my way back home to make some modifications to the house, when I ran into a weird glitch, which I don't know why appeared.
What the? What the? Why'd the baby turn invisible? What happened? Killing that ant.
Needing more stone, I entered the village dungeon, and even though there was a lot of stone waiting for me in there was a lot else waiting for me in there too. But before we move on to the second half, here's a word from our sponsor, me. Many people have decided that their choice to subscribe to MiLEZ was one of the best decisions of their life.
It took me a while, but once I started subscribing to MiLEZ, my life has been so much better. However, I did kind of miss it when his name used to be...
And this subscription could be yours too for the low price of free. Choosing to subscribe now has plenty in store for you, like murderous minigames, wacky weather, and even more mobs. If you order now, we will personally piss off a dragon just for you, as you know there will be plenty of those in part 2. So subscribe now and call the toll-free number below to have part 2 shipped straight to you. Shipping and handling fees may apply. Time's a ticking, so act on this order fast while supplies last. Hello, it appears to me that you've purchased Minecraft Mod Madness Part 2, is that correct? Well, good for you. I heard there's some pretty good stuff in there. Well, anyways, enjoy. Starting off extremely lucky in our dungeon, we ended up with a loot games room right off the bat. Now these are little minigame rooms, and it can spawn one of two games, one of which is Minesweeper. And I have never been more disappointed in myself in my entire life. I cannot believe how horrible I am at this game. I still practice to this day, just in case if I ever have to run into one of these again, because genuinely, I can't. I don't even know what to say. There's no excuses. And I was so close on that last one. There was like 4 moves left. And then yet I screwed it up. Minesweeper aside though, we went deeper into the dungeon, and as we went down, we got this ominous message saying, "Chaotic energy has manifested into something. Beware." But we never ran into anything. I wish I ran into it. I wanted to see it, but we never saw it.
Hello, gunman.
After getting bored of the dungeon, we flew around for a bit when we ran into this creature called an abaya? Abaya? I could say mottled. That's a word. Okay, I looked it up. It's abaya. That makes sense. But we battled that abaya until morning and got ourselves an aquatic soulstone from him, which is amazing because it gives us a free pet. It was a roa, a very good pet in the ocean, but very bad on land. And given that I'm in a desert, does give infinite water breathing though, which may be helpful in the future.
Why, hello there, flying book. Oh wow, you are an angry book. You are a very angry book. Hey, I'm making you use the... Getting beat up by a book right now. Dude, your hitbox is so tiny. Die. Oh, no wonder. You were an enchanted book. Ooh, I can enchant myself with reading. How nice. I never knew how to read before. Definitely makes itself very interesting. What the hell are you? Gnek. Die. Why did he make that sound? He was like, where you are.
So we made it to the 3rd level of the dungeon, where we ran into one of my favorite enemies in the entire mod pack, the Spectre. He likes to drag you in if you get nearby him, which it's such a weird ability, but I love it so much. I found this one room that likes to spawn creepers, and even though there was clearly TNT right beneath the floor, I fell for the trap and opened up the chest that ended up blowing up the entire room, including most of the loot. Although floors 1 through 3 were just all fun and games, floor 4 made it different. It seemed unassuming at first with like just, you know, some silverfish and a couple of enemies. But then, yeah, things took a turn for the worse and I lost pretty much everything. It was horrible. But we ended up getting most of it back, outside of what burned. It took a whole day to do so too, but I'd rather keep some than lose all. So it wasn't that big of a deal. Bringing it back to what I said before though, the way that these mods work with each other, especially some of them, is almost too perfect. Like, the way that, especially zombies, first of all, I can't even start with just zombies, but just all enemies in general, they just work so perfectly. Like, the teamwork is just so good. I just can't believe it. Like, in normal Minecraft, it's not like this. Like, I guess this is what I get for going out of my way to specifically find a few mods that made enemies smarter, but still, some of the combos that they've been able to pull off during this series are almost unbelievable. Also, by the way, that giant creature thing was a shade, and you can actually tame those. I wish I brought treats, because that would be a really good pet to have.
Oof. Oh shoot, he sees me. What the hell are you doing?
I don't know why I let a mutant creeper into the dungeon, but I left it for a later problem, but it very soon became a now problem, and it became a really big now problem. Like, he was just blowing up everything. There was nothing left behind, and I was losing so much stone because of it too. At least he had the courtesy of self-destructing after killing me, so I'm glad someone taught him manners. Alright, so I'm just going to play this in its entirety. You need to see the series of unfortunate events that took place here. Like, it's just 50% of my deaths have probably been because of a zombie. Even though it didn't kill me, it was because of a zombie. The other half probably because creepers. But why are there so many silverfish? Like, I have never seen this many silverfish in my entire life. And yet they're all just concentrated here. It's absolute madness. Mod madness.
What just happened?
I think this game looked into the future and heard my terrible joke because I ran into one of the weirdest glitches. I don't even know how it happened. Like, there was no enemies. I just was on fire and getting infinite bubbles for some reason. Like, imagine if I was actually in a dungeon or something and this happened. I'm glad at least I was at home, but geez. I finished some more flooring of the house, and I was coming up with some ideas of what I was going to do, because we were still far from finished, but it wasn't going to be long until that little house was going to be part of our ceiling. But you'll see what I did with it soon. We were going to need some stone, so I went to a new dungeon, and it went fairly well. We even got to the 3rd floor before things got a little out of hand, you know, zombies. But we got out of there no problem, except for one problem being this enemy that hit me through the wall. Like, if that killed me, that would have been extremely cheap, but it doesn't matter, we made it out of there. And it turns out we have a lot of enchanted books. Like, I need to do something about that. Clearing out some land for the house today, and it was very satisfying. You know, just peaceful times. Except for when parasites would come out of the sand and jump on my face, but outside of that, very peaceful. A tornado was forming in the distance, so I decided to take shelter inside my house, which, you know, you'd think it'd be the best place to hide from a tornado, but instead, the tornado ripped the roof off of my house and took me along with it. I was flying around for a bit, but by the time I got back, it turns out the tornado had broken my windows, ripped the bed off the floor, and busted my door in, so seems like my house needs some more upgrades. Because I still needed more stone, I held off on working on the roof, so I can move on to converting that mini house into a bat chute, so whenever I want to get in and out of the house when the roof is complete, I could just use that.
Interesting. That's probably why my armor's been breaking so easily.
Back in the dungeons where I got a bit too greedy, so a wither skeleton was able to get the jump on me, and it was a shame too, I had so many levels, but I went back to try to get my items, and that just did not go well at all. To my surprise, something else bad happened back at home.
No way.
Taking the long flight home, it came to my attention that the reason why my bed didn't work was because a sandstorm had hit my house. There was just sand everywhere, and like imagine, it's all in the sheets now, so it's like I feel bad for my dude because he has to sleep in that. So I made a temporary roof to make sure that that never happens again, and then headed to the dungeon, where we got our items back, but just when I was about to get back to work. Blood moon. We haven't had one of these in a good bit though, and the bat makes it so much better. You could just fly around watching all the chaos ensue while, you know, you're pretty much safe. So we were just hanging out, watching all these squids do their death dance when a dragon just had to come and ruin everything.
I have an idea. Oh, look at these guys. Special ability, pick up. And drop. I killed him. Oh, hello, Mimic. Special ability, pick up. Oh, and I'm dead. And he's dead. He only dropped some sticks for me, though. But whatever, it's daytime and the blood moon is over. Look at that. What a great day. Why are they in the water?
Although the blood moon did pass, there was a banshee sneaking up right behind me for a jump scare. I guess she wanted to get one last spook in before she died. But thanks to that though, we got our first ever soul, which is always a good way to start off a morning. I went back into the dungeon and I don't even know how. A 1-block hole, probably because of a silverfish, led me straight into the void. Like, I'm lucky there was water because just a little bit more of a drop and I would have went straight through. But wow, it was just awful. And I lost everything, but flying around after we got lucky because we found a sea serpent fighting other enemies. So I patiently waited as the others beat him up, and then I flew in and took everything. And speaking of taking, I found a new inventory pet on a tiny cloud, which gives us double XP, which is really nice. And thanks to all the battle towers, dungeons, and more that we were doing, we were pretty set. And I also found out that you could put armor on your pets, making my bat even better. But even with all of that, we still had almost no stone. So we went back to the dungeon to get some more.
I wish there was an enemy. I guess the, if you really think about it, the Chupacabra does it. But, it would be really cool if there was an enemy that, like, sits back and waits. And then right when the time is right, and by that I mean you turn and look at him, he just goes after you. But, like, he gives it a second, though. Like, you look and you see him and you're like, oh, and then he just jumps you.
It's day 68, and I decided it was a good idea to take on an SCP center.
Oh yeah, it is a surgeon crab. Hello. Now what do you do? Come on. Ow. Jeez. Okay, wait, they are fast. Dude. This is not an area to mess with. Holy. They almost killed me. This was not the best idea. Hey, what's up? You can die. Oh.
Nope. And one of those crabs was giving me a real nasty look. So I decided to exterminate all of them. And once that lab was free of crabs, I went outside. Never thought I'd have to say that sentence. With all the crabs dead, it seemed that there were no more SCPs in the center. However, a mutant zombie was on the roof of the building, so I decided to fight it. And that fight took a while. Like, mutant zombies are no pushovers, but eventually he finally fell. And we got this item called the Hulk's Hammer, which is a pretty cool weapon that lets you smash the floor, but it doesn't do a lot of damage, sadly. Once I got back home, it turns out yet another tornado was forming, so for the rest of the day I decided it was time to work on that roof. Once morning came along, we were just about finished with that roof, and to be honest, I prefer this much better. Like, the wood was good, don't get me wrong, but compared to stone, I like that more, and also one of them's tornado proof, so there is that too. We got this really cool mask, and with it, we could go into the Sun Chief's domain without being attacked. It's pretty cool there. You could trade with a bunch of people, and on top of that too, you could talk to the Sun Chief himself, and for 7 gold blocks, he can give you the powers of the sun. So I made the trade, and my first order of business with my newfound sun powers was to immediately burst into flames.
Okay, we're gonna try that again. We're not gonna try that again.
Yet another blood moon. But nothing special happened, so moving on. Alright, let's get back to sun powers. So basically, now whenever we talk to him, we have the ability to shoot giant lasers, or we can shoot giant lasers from the sun. Either or, it doesn't matter, a laser is a laser, and they're both just as effective. I did get a little carried away though, and died. Today's another house day, and I found out that you could make reinforced glass. I wasn't sure if it was tornado proof or not, but hey, it doesn't hurt to try, so I made a bunch and started replacing the windows with them. Today was another house day, just making more room and getting more stone. That was about it. Today was not another house day, it was an adventure day, and we found this chest up in the sky, along with a skeleton that was dual-wielding swords. He seemed cool, but he died in one hit, so coolness only goes so far. Then we entered a dungeon that just gave us the worst luck. Like, there's this enemy called a Gru. He looks cool, but he's annoying as hell, and nobody likes him. And I happened to run into 2 at once. They were like the demon duo. They just kept beating me up. I didn't even stand a chance. There was just no mercy. Hello, valued customer. This is the bonus track of us pissing off a dragon just for you. Thank you for your purchase. No, this is not the same clip used again. Don't check. So today I had a double battle where I fought a dragon while at the same time being shot at by the Sun Chief. It took a bit, but that dragon went down no problem, and I brought bottles this time so we could get its blood. But I wasn't exactly satisfied. Like, we've killed a couple of dragons, but I want to fight a new boss. And so, I went on the search for one. By reloading chunks, you could find enemies underground, so we used that in order to find the next boss we were going for.
Ah, okay, he's right there.
Digging down to him, we eventually got to his lair, and boy was he prepared. I don't know why, but there were a lot of enemies inside of his room, and it made the fight just a complete chaotic mess. There were just too many enemies. Like, I tried my best, but they slowly whittled away my health, and once he did his earthquake attack that hits everything in the room, there was just no chance. Luckily though, from that point on, it was mostly just one-on-ones. I think it's probably because of the fact that he just kept hitting his friends during the fight, if you saw that. I don't think they want to hang out with him that much anymore. However, that didn't stop banshees from peeking in every now and then to screw up the fight, but eventually they also started to hate him.
That's straight up death right there. Oh. Okay, Banshee. Nice try.
After a few tries, we finally took him down, and I always enjoy his boss fight. It's short and simple, but it also ramps up in difficulty over time. But thanks to beating him, we have this giant helmet and also this giant axe.
Yeah, he does a little shimmy. He looks cool. Oh. Getting attacked by parasites, and I'm dead. Oh, and I survived. I am too good at this game. We got... Okay.
With the new boss dead, I was feeling good, and I was like, yeah, let's take on the Nether, we got this. But see, the Nether was 2 steps ahead of me. Instead of giving me at least the courtesy of dying to an enemy there or something, it just outright spawned me over lava. Like, I just didn't even stand a chance. But thanks to that, we found out that the portal frequently spawns in enemies that drop food for my bat, so I can use that to level him up. After feeding my bat, I went back into the Nether, and this time with a plan. So it was going to take a couple of trips in order to work, but it was basically I jump into the lava, place a couple of blocks, die, jump back into the lava, place a couple of blocks, until I get some sort of structure that I could fall on.
Oh, just a little bit too far. Oh.
With that plan complete, it became very apparent very early that we were not welcome here. Like, there's just so much different about the Nether thanks to these mods. Like, look at that thing. Like, that thing looks awesome, but like, what the hell is that? And we were finding all these new structures too. There was like these mini nether fortresses inside the lava oceans, and like, I was gonna go into one, but then immediately opted out. Traveling around the nether more, we found a lot of new kinds of enemies. For the most part though, they were just tanks that just took way too many hits to die and didn't really give much in return. So we just kind of searched around for a bit, but eventually I got enough food to level up the bat to level 2, which means now he has more health and can spam for longer.
How are you here? All the, you know what? Yeah, get out of here. No way.
Really? And then to finish my adventure, I got stuck in some weird glitch that ended up booting me out of the nether. Day 79 was a calm one. We spent the time really just working on the roof, and I really like this dynamic that we have all these calm moments of working on the house, but it's also broken up by all these crazy moments of blood moons and like the nether and all that. I don't know why, it just keeps on going back and forth, but while we were doing that, we were also fighting off anything that was coming out of the nether portal, which was good because it was just more food for our bat. We headed back into the nether and we basically just played Pokemon. Like, I caught a Cacodemon and a Pinky, which are both amazing pets to have, and you'll see later, especially Pinky is a very helpful pet to have. But for the rest of the day, I went into what was left of the village to take all the stone that was there, because it wasn't like there was any villagers that were going to be using it, working on more flooring for the house, and it became apparent that this nether portal was being a bit of a problem. Like, even though it was good for bat food, at the same time it was also spawning in enemies that were constantly attacking me while I was working on the house. So, I found the first ever use for Pinky.
Kill. Pinky kill. Good. This is gonna work.
With that issue covered, we moved on into placing bookshelves on the wall, which led to a very weird glitch. My axe just disappeared out of existence and then came back. I think it went on its own dimensional journey or something, but like, yeah, that was just very weird. Today we headed back to the old area and stole the loot from the dragon we beat in the first 50 days, but our main objective was to get ourselves a beholder.
It said the beholder too big. Yes. Azure, it's purple. Yes, you're so cool. Take. Yes. Now take that. Cool. That was very easy. Look at you, purple. My favorite color. Nice eye color, too. All right, well, we finished our job. And with 13 to spare. Very nice.
Working on the base some more, I decided to combine the other house into the build. I even added a staircase, which for the start looked pretty good, but there was still more to go. And still needing more stone, I went to other villages to borrow their floors. It's not like they're going to need them anyways, a dragon's just going to blow up their house. But we were also in need of dark oak logs because I was going to use them for the bookshelves, so I thought it was a smart idea to go out at night to do that, and it turns out it actually was a smart idea. We ended up running into an Undertaker, which is a mini-boss. After beating him in a totally fair fight, we got his heart, which we used to make a golden heart. It's a really good item that if you equip it, it gives you regeneration while also giving durability to all your equipment, so it'll be very useful. Going back to the forest, we chopped those trees and got all the wood that we needed for those bookshelves, so much so that we actually finished the wall. However, when we put all the books we had into them, it was clear we should have been working on that too. But bookshelves aside, we made a tool belt, and I added a couple of extra pockets as an upgrade. It's basically a very helpful item that allows you to switch through weapons on the fly. Something attuned to like Red Dead Redemption or GTA. It's a pretty nice item, I wish I used it earlier. It's another house day and it's all coming together. I added an extra wall and it's getting there, it's more complete. Obviously there needs to be more stuff inside the house, but for now the walls are what's more important. And as I worked on the roof, I got a pleasant surprise.
Do not despawn, I swear. Morak, you come back here. Level 2. Morak wants more. You are very greedy. Yes.
We got a Morok, a dragon that looks like it was made out of platinum, and look how much health it has. Like, out of all my other pets, it just completely demolishes them in how much health he has. His ability is pretty nice too. It's a dash, and I think I could use it to get around places faster. Although I'm still not sure about that because the bat is still pretty fast. A horde of zombies were trying to build up to my house, so I'm very glad that our house is as high as it is, but like, come on. Paparazzi needs to back off. Glass. So we got back to work on that staircase and just did some other little touch-ups on the house, and this is starting to look very similar to day 83. I decided it was time for another big adventure, and this time we were going to beat a dungeon, and to make sure of it, we were going to be taking some pretty good items with us. Also, that reinforced glass works perfectly. But we went into a new dungeon, and Pinky is insane. Like, he is a beast in dungeons, and it's really, really helpful. However, I did forget to bring a summoning staff, which that was my first mistake. My second mistake was Pinky being put into a bit of a bad line of fire and getting blown up a bit. He died. That was the first sign that I probably should have left. But instead I kept going, and I ran into one of the scariest glitches imaginable. And then I ran into one of the scariest things imaginable. And it's like, just creepers every time. And the worst thing about the creepers is the fire. Like, this adventure was a total failure. I lost so much. Another house day update, and we have finally finished the roof of the house. So now it's time to finish the inside. We started the day off clearing out the last bit of sand when we got a very unwelcome guest in our house. It was a baby spider with a lot of enchantments. And this might be why the bubble glitch happened, but it seems that whenever I set a pet to attack it, I take the damage of any enchantments. So sending Pinky to go kill it was literally a death sentence for myself, and I died very, very quickly. And then I walked outside to see the baby spider dancing on my grave. Like, that was a cheap kill. He had no skill. Once he was gone, we were able to finally get back to the house, and I finished the final wall using the reinforced glass that we made. So now all that was left was the stone we didn't have for the floor.
Should I? How?
The next morning we went to a village to steal some torches. Yet I have stacks of gold and like plenty of diamonds, but no coal. But on our way back we got distracted by a dragon, so it was fighting time again. And this dragon had a lot of health to deal with. Like, it took a very long time to beat this one. But luckily most of the time it didn't care, except for the one time it did care and ripped me to shreds. But that doesn't matter because we beat the dragon, and it dropped an egg, which I didn't even know it could do that. But yeah, I guess we got one of those now. We also got this giant skull that I put on the staircase, but then I thought it was too big, so I just took it down. After that, we went to another village, and this time it was for stone, and the amount of villages that we've ransacked for stone is probably everywhere in our general area. Like, these villagers just don't have floors anymore. I've been stealing all of them. But history repeats itself because we were distracted by yet another dragon, and this one was pissed. Like, at first I had no clue why it was so angry, and it just came out of nowhere. Flying around it though, it turns out it came out of the floor. It literally made a cave through the floor just to get to me.
And you are angry. That's the dad. Oh, that's the dad. He's mad.
Yeah, so I thought I came to a realization that made the fight a lot more awkward, but I could see why he's pissed now. Also, there were so many rocket creepers. Like, why were there so many? It just, out of the blue, like, look how many there are, and try to tell me that that's normal. Like, they literally have a vendetta against me. I realized how close we were getting to day 100, so I wanted to have a little bit of fun. So I decided to give my beholder a shot at fighting the dragon, and it turns out, beholders make for really good dragon killers. Like, look at the results of this, it's just insane. And he can spam too, it's just the perfect package. Like, the dragon was acting all crazy angry and tough at first, but it started running away by the time I started using the beholder. And because of all that, the dragon just did not last long.
Too easy. Oh my gosh. Stupid. Wait, you had it. Uh-oh. Whoa. Bronze. Uh-oh. We started a problem. We need to get out of here.
So I guess dragons like coming out of the ground every now and then, because I still can't explain that. But hey, at least our dragon loot's looking pretty good. Then for the rest of the night, I worked on the house some more and did some more flooring. I added some more windows to the side of the house, not only because I felt like it looked nice, but I also needed the stone. Which is a good thing I added them, because that small bit of stone was all we needed to finally finish the floor. And with that done, the base house is now complete. All that's left is what we just want to add on the inside, which we could really just do anything. Looking at the house from the outside, and I really like how it turned out. I might make some changes over time, but for now, I really like how this turned out. And of course, we get a blood moon on day 99. It just had to. Like, come on, it wouldn't be fitting if it wasn't. And there was a huge turnout this time around. Like, they really wanted to make day 99 special. Like, they were throwing everything at me. If there was an enemy, it was there. Including dragons. There just also had to be a dragon on the night of 99. And look at my house in the background. Like, damn, I love it so much. We did it. 100 days done. So far, out of all the challenges I've done, because I have some pre-recorded, this is my favorite. And to be honest, I don't think that there's any that are going to top this. Like, putting together these 100 mods was a pain, because there were a lot of mods that were messing with each other, and it took a long time to actually get this to all work in a functioning manner. But I am so glad that it works the way it does, because the sheer chaos that takes place on a daily basis is just so much fun. And before I continue, I want to play a clip for me from the 100th day.
Got some nice items though. Put this in here as the final death compass.
So stupid.
It's funny though. I like it. Dude, look at that. You did pretty good for 100 days. We'll eventually do better. Look at that as the sun sets. This is going to finish it off for the 100-day challenge. We are on day 100. We got this house looking nice. We didn't finish it all the way. We do need to get more books and a better lighting just around the floor and such. The blood moon kind of took up a bit of time. We could have maybe gotten a better floor if it wasn't for that, but it was a good way to finish it off. Perfectly fitting for the 100 days. Yeah, metal jaw. It's like we got this nice house. Not fully complete, but we did a good job. Got my Epion, the star of the show, and a bunch of other pets too. By the end of it, we ended up with quite a lot. I don't know, we just did so much. The Epion is perfect. Just everything went pretty good. There were a couple of problems, obviously, with dungeons and just creepers acting like creepers, especially those rocket ones. But at the end, we did pretty good. I like this. Oh, wait, I actually want to see that inside my house. Very nice. All right, but yeah, we did good. We did really good. But for the next 100 days, we're going to do even better. Like if this was just 100, imagine what the next 100 will be. We'll probably end up going into the end even, if the game allows us. The nether was a bit glitchy. That's why that portal's gone. I guess I'll do one final flyby around the house, and then I will call it a video.
Thank you so much for watching this. I couldn't ask for a better result with how this turned out. I know that as far as 100-day challenges go, there was definitely a lot to show, and there's even more to show if you want, as on my second channel, I'll be posting every single episode in its full length. So if you liked any of the clips taken straight from the videos, I'd recommend you check it out. And if you look at the pinned comment, you'll find a list of all of the mods that I used in this video, so if you want to try out Mod Bandits out for yourself, then that's what I used.
Hey.
And if you want to watch the chaos live for yourself, I started a Twitch. I'll be live on MiLEZ_TV, so if you want to see the next 100 days as it happens, be sure to go there. Like, I can't even really promise what's going to be happening next. Like, as you've seen with how this series goes, it's really just going with the flow. Although I can say I do have more plans for the house.
There is a very overpowered baby spider watching me. He really wants me dead, but he won't. Because he will have to see me in the next 100 days. So thank you. And if you liked it, like it. And if you want to subscribe, subscribe. So until next time, I'll see ya. I'll see ya. See ya.